So that was definitely the ending of 𝐒𝐡𝐚𝐧𝐬𝐭 anime, and no, unfortunately, I can't come bearing good news like I am with a lot of the other endings of spring season. I can't come and bear good news and say, yes, we got confirmation of a season 2, because we simply have not. The only thing we got confirmation of within the last 10 days was the delay, which is why we're covering this on Wednesday and not Monday, of episode 13. Unfortunately, there was some kind of like studio delay. Happens all the time. My guess is the studio kind of works up to the minute. They submit it over to the TV studios or broadcasting studios or streaming studios. However they do it now. It used to be broadcasting studios, but it might be like different studios. Basically, they grab the final product, they move it over into another team, and if there's any delay in that, essentially, to make it for broadcast, then, you know, they just simply don't make it in time, which is what I'm guessing happened with the delay. I don't think necessarily anything happened with the audio visuals. I don't think anything happened with the actual core episode itself. I think it was probably just something along the lines of, you know, something getting missed along the lines of transport, or, you know, they're just worked up to the last minute or something like that. But regardless, no season 2 yet, unfortunately, because this one definitely needs it, especially with that ending that we got. But at least there was a semi-satisfying ending here, in my opinion. Now, was this episode great? I'll leave that up to you to decide, but let me just kind of talk about the different things that occurred this episode. If I were to slap a score on it, I would say this was like a 7 out of 10 ending, but I would say that the anime overall was 8 out of 10 for me. I think this was a fantastic anime. I think it doesn't rival Eminence in Shadow that we got last season, but I think it comes, you know, from enjoyability, I think it comes fairly close to Eminence in Shadow last season. I still prefer Eminence in Shadow. If I had to like choose, you know, put a gun to my head, choose one, I would choose Eminence in Shadow, but not by that much. I would say Eminence is like an 8.5 to me. This one was definitely like an 8. So if you were to stop the video now, just know that's how I feel about the anime. 8 out of 10 this season. All right, so first and foremost, lots of stuff happened. We kind of begin and end with the tale of Yuuya, which is the girl, which we later learn in the episode that she's a divine archer. The episode starts off with the crazy prince, and he's basically standing trial. He's standing trial because obviously he attempted to kill the princess. He also attempted to kill his father, the king. So that's a big no-no, right? But essentially what he was saying is that what kind of caused him to go crazy was the, you know, crazy amount of burns that was caused by like some kind of like mana overload, mana explosion from 𝐒𝐻𝐴. At some point, she was probably practicing magic, and there was some kind of overload that caused burns everywhere. Apparently, his burns kind of like itch and got him and kind of compelled him towards evil. And then he met Yuuya, and he met the Dark Guild, and he just got further pushed along those lines into his craziness. So as he's standing trial and everything, you know, Yuuya decides to kind of like act, and he takes out his a vial of like healing. Apparently, he has some kind of like legendary healing herbs that he later on mentions that casually just grows in his farm. But he gets some healing herbs, and he heals the prince. Prince gets 100% all healed up. Prince is over emotional about it. 𝐒𝐻𝐴 then decides to just simply forgive him because she still loves her brother, even though he's a little, you know, crazy. But 𝐒𝐻𝐴, that's her personality, is she's over loving. She's a lot. But she doesn't really hold qualms, nor does she hold any with Luna before, nor does she now with her brother. And then she gaslights her dad into forgiving him too, which they both decide to. They do punish him by like pulling away his lands and stuff, but they don't put him to the gallows. They don't put him in jail. They're going to seemingly allow him to continue being prince, just with less power and domain. Then the next part was, you know, they're going to reward Yuuya in some way. 𝐒𝐻𝐴 wants to reward him with her hand. Luna wants to reward him with hers. But from the behest of the prince, he decides with the king that they're just going to give him what the prince's land was, which was, I guess, like the land of Regalia. That doesn't really mean much to me, but I'm assuming it's like a little town or something like that. So they bestowed upon him land and the title of Knight Baron or something like that. I think it was like Knight something. But apparently he's going to have a lot more influence and power now moving forward, which will probably then entitle him to be allowed to later on marry Alexia as well. So all of that, all of that was fine. I think where my problems this episode ended up happening, I think up to this point, up to him passing out in his room and getting a vision of the UT girl, I think up to that was okay. He's then suddenly back in the real world, taking like a test and then running out of class because he's got to make it back to this world once again. So they basically skip over whatever happened between him passing out, waking up, and then class. They pretty much skipped over any of that, but he beelines it. He ignores all the girls. He ignores Kaori, everybody, even though she wants to study. He's like, yo, I got to go. So he goes to the new world, and this is where his idiocy, that like his character it begins to just irk me a little bit. Like, he was fat before, but he wasn't an effing moron. But he goes in, he leaves his door, like, bro has a doorway to another world. Not just, he doesn't have like a doorway to like a vault or, something like crazy, but not out. He has something that is like that doesn't exist in Japan. It's something magical that doesn't exist. And he has a doorway to this other world. So he casually leaves his front door kind of cracked open. He leaves the door of this other world open. And then in that world, he leaves the gate open. So obviously Kaori shows up. Thankfully, it's the person that he already spilled the beans to. But she then, you can't even fault really her, but she then comes and opens the door because he left it open, opens the door because he left it open, opens the door because it's already open to get out, even though he warned her that there's monsters. She decided to go anyways. That was her big idiot moment. And she gets in the line of fire, but she seemingly serves no purpose other just as background fodder. He saves her twice, woohoo. And a fight between UT and him and Usagi-chan, the bunny, ends up happening. They end up overpowering, and we learn that Akatsuki, the pig, the boar, the Pumbaa, has some kind of magical power. Basically, the bunny tells us that there's magical beasts in this world that resist evil, and he's one of them. So he basically purifies the area, purifies UT, basically cutting her off from that evil power. And that then allows him to knock her out, and the bunny leaves him saying like, hey, you can do whatever you want with her now. She has no access to that evil power. And he just pieces out. He just hops away. And then he's carrying her in his arms, and he looks at Kaori. Kaori looks at him, and now he basically caught waifu number 8 or whatever it is now. So just like Luna, she just fell in his hands, fell in his arms. So that's where we left off. So you let me know how you feel about it. I thought it was serviceable. It was pretty good. I still enjoyed watching it. I just think the first half was way better than the last half, as far as like putting stuff together and piecing everything back. In my opinion, at least. So anyways, let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comments below. It's been a pleasure to serve you for 13 weeks and 13 episodes this season. I'm going to see you guys in Summer Anime 2023. I'll see you guys for summer. Make sure you guys check out the 2 videos on screen, which are me going through every anime and basically yaying or naying. And then my top 10 should you watch videos, or top 10 to watch should you watch video. All right. I'll see you in summer. Peace.